Hi. Hi, I'm Sam Ladingus, and I'm here today with my friend who is a kinetic sculpture artist, Bradley Litwin. Hey, Bradley, how you doing?
Hey, Sam.
It's good to see you. I would like you to
Okay,
tell me the story. I would like you to tell me the story of how you went from all the things that I know you for to becoming a kinetic sculpture artist.
okay. Well, I've actually changed my career probably 5 times since I was a teenager, maybe more. My wife says every 4 years. But anyway, I went from making guitars to designing machinery for industry to designing uh, customized little things that go ding, ding, ding and wooga, wooga, wooga. And from there to doing multimedia production and development, and animation and graphics and video and all kinds of creative pursuits. And then from there to uh, being an on the road touring musician and all of that, believe it or not, led to where I am today. Um, so I'll skip forward to 2001, just after the tragedy of 9/11. The company that I was working for that made interactive multimedia presentations, their business pretty much dried up. And by a year later, April of 2003, the company closed its doors, and I was right there on the street. And I was thinking, I had been doing a lot of performing locally and a little bit of touring. I play and sing, and my specialty is blues and jazz and ragtime music from the 1920s and 30s.
Hmm.
And I said, well, I might as well make it a full-time pursuit, see if I can make a living at it.
Hmm.
And nothing could be too much further from the truth. This is a fool's pursuit. Trying to become a professional musician, especially at my age, was foolhardy. But I stuck with it, and I suffered all kinds of abuse and put up with a lot of funny business.
Hmm.
And around 2006, I was in a seminar, attending a seminar, where discussion was given to what you can do to make your offering as a presenter and a performer more attractive and interesting to prospective hirers. And I was trying to get residency work, as it's called, where you would not just go in, play a show and go, but go into a town, do a bunch of community-based things, and then that would culminate in a performance at the end. So stay in the town for about a week, maybe. So I got the idea that I should show my kinetic sculpture maybe with alongside of giving these performances. And now I've been making models and little machines and whatnot since I was a little kid. My mom likes to tell the story of me hanging out the side of the pram watching the wheels go around. And my dad introduced me to steam locomotives around the age of 4. One of my favorite memories is sitting on the floor in the Franklin Institute right next to the gigantic Baldwin 60,000 steam locomotive. This
Wow.
incredible hulking piece of iron. And I just fell in love with steam engines and machinery and mechanisms of all sorts. So as I don't know if it was intuition, but certainly fortunate that indeed a lot of the people that I was trying to get work with were interested in having this other thing as part of my presentation. So I would go to whatever town and drag along a half a dozen or more kinetic sculpture pieces and set them up in a gallery or a museum or whatever they had there. And then throughout the week, I would give little gallery talks and talk about what I did, what it was involved in making these things. And then a couple of times I actually had them on stage with me for the music. And that was very gratifying. And actually, as time progressed, I was getting a lot more interest in the kinetic sculpture than I was in getting booked as a musician. And I had actually sold a few pieces, and it was 2010 when I was sitting in my office at home looking at a pile of CD mailers, these things, you can fit a jewel box into a CD mailer like that. And I had hundreds of them, as you might imagine. And I thought, well, it would be pretty cool if I could put a machine like this in one of these little boxes and send it off to Steven Spielberg. And when you open it up and played with it, a little sign would pop up that says, "Steve, I need a job." And I didn't do that because I thought, Steve would never actually receive whatever I would send him. But I did make a little machine to go inside of one of these things. And here's an example of the very first one. It's a model of the cross section of a radial engine, which is a kind of an engine you would find in a very old airplane, something from World War I or World War II. And
that's fascinating.
oh, thank you. And I played with that for a while. And I made the first prototype with cardboard and razor blade knives and Scotch tape and glue, whatever I had on hand. And I really enjoyed the daylights out of this thing. And serendipity, that I would say within weeks, maybe days of my having done that, a friend of mine called me up to invite me to come attend a conference of I guess what you would call hackage or hackers, or the name of the conference was Hackers of Planet Earth. And this was held at the Pennsylvania Hotel up in New York City. And there was this floor full of people walking around with trilby hats and funny looking sideburns and earrings coming out of their noses and whatnot, and picking locks and showing funny things that they could do with software. I remember a thing you could put on that had blinking LEDs in it, and after a while it made you hallucinate. It was the darndest thing. I mean, they had everything. So I actually brought a couple of my kinetic sculptures to put on the display table with my friend's stuff. And I also brought this first model that I made, this mechanic art. I coined the phrase, the name. And he introduced me to these fellas who write something called Make Magazine, which is a do-it-yourself thing where all kinds of folks subscribe to learn how to do whatever you can think of, making it themselves. Everything from software to furniture to models of everything, drones. They had drones and all kinds of stuff. Anyway, a lot of lock picking, which cracked me up. They had a lock picking contests. See how fast you can pick 6 locks that you've never encountered before. And these guys were fast. So anyway, I got this introduction to these 2 fellows, Nick Normal Branwyn Galbraith, who published this magazine. And also, as luck would have it, they also put on this thing called Maker Faire, which is a conference that's held in numerous cities annually. And I'm not sure, but they're all over the country, but they might also be international. Anyway, they invited me to show this piece and anything I thought I wanted to show at Maker Faire, which was just a month later or 2 months later. And by that time, I had 5 more different models of the Mechanicards done, prototypes. And I displayed them, and I also displayed this thing called the quadrotopole, which you can see on YouTube. You can see all my stuff on YouTube. Just go youtube.com/blitwin. And anyway, so the quadrotopole, in short, is a rotating carousel with 4 catapults on it. Each catapult shoots a little plastic ball, a little smaller than a ping pong ball. And they shoot across about a 2-foot circle, and the balls are caught by a funnel that's attached to another catapult. So as the thing runs, the balls are continuously shooting back and forth on this thing. And in mid-flight, each ball passes through a pair of rotating discs, each with a hole in it for the ball to go through.
Awesome.
And it's mesmerizing. So this thing didn't stop running for the entire conference there. And I did very well, I'm pleased to say. Got a bunch of blue ribbons. And a bunch of people took the postcard announcing the Mechanicards, and people were able to see in a little showcase of the Mechanicards. I would demonstrate some of those. And so a few hundred of those cards went out, and I had a lot of fun. I actually was invited to show the quadrotopole and the Mechanicards on the Martha Stewart TV show. The producer walked up to me and says, does this thing travel? I said, well, it got here. So a couple of days later, I went up to New York to be on the Martha Stewart show, which was pretty funny. And anyway, so it played it on there, that worked. And then about the same time, I would say within a few days, the Make Magazine fellas put my video, the Introducing Mechanicards video, on their website, which is called Boing Boing.
Wow.
And I hadn't heard of it, but evidently it's an extremely popular techie website. Well, within moments of that thing hitting the internet, I started getting orders for Mechanicards. Now you got to know, I hadn't yet made any other than with a little razor knife and with my own little fingers. And anyway, I started getting about an order or 2 every hour. And I was just dumbfounded. I was like, uh-oh, now what have I done? So fortunately, I knew that these things could be, at least have the parts cut out with a laser machine, a computer-controlled laser cutter. And I started working with a company that did that, and soon realized that if I didn't have my own laser cutter and do this myself, it was not going to ever get done. So amazingly, I was able to buy a laser cutter, this industrial machine, with the money that I had gotten for all these pre-orders. And this machine was installed in my living room, and I hired a couple of my buddies, and we started making Mechanicards all day long. It was amazing.
Awesome.
And at a certain point, I guess it was late October, early November, I realized there was no way I was going to get all these orders done for people who expected these things for Christmas presents. And So I sent out this big email to everybody saying, look, these things are still largely hand assembled and so forth, and I'm inundated and I just can't get this done by then. And nobody complained. Not a single order was canceled.
Excellent. That's awesome.
So I was boggled by that. Uh-oh, don't do that. My computer wants to restart. Pick a time, another time, really any other time.
Any other time. Well, it's okay.
Okay, that's good. That works. All right.
Excellent. So you got the orders done, and where are you now with your
February? The next February, I got them all done.
Wow. So where are you now with the Kinetic art?
So that was very popular for, I guess, about 5, 6, 7 years. And in the last couple of years, interest in mechanic arts has died away. But I still do get some orders. But I still make kinetic sculptures, larger pieces mostly. And people commission me to make works for their museums or their homes or whatever special purpose. Every once in a while, I make them for trade show swag. It's amazing the number of different things that people have used them for.
Excellent.
And I'm still hanging in there. I tell folks I don't know where my next nickel's coming from, but I do know it's coming. So
that's excellent. I thank you so much. What a great, great, great story. And where can we contact you?
So my website is Brad Litwin, LITWIN.com. And you can see my YouTube videos at YouTube/BLitwin. And you could go and see Mechanic Arts directly by going to mechanicarts.com. And you can contact me through all of those means.
Excellent. I'll put all of that information into the Facebook page. And I thank you so much for your interview today. Have a blessed day.
Thanks, sweetheart. It is great seeing you, Sam. It's been so long. And you look just like you did when you were 16 years old.
Thanks for the compliment. I didn't pay him to say that. Bye now.
Bye-bye.